Hey folks, it's Rob here from Property Developer Network, and we're here for another Ask Rob Anything. Now, I know it's been a very long time since we've run one of these, but it's a feature that we offer to our annual members. And today, one of our annual members here is Gabby, and she's got a question that she is hoping to actually stump me. And I'm going to do my best to rack my brains and see if I can pull it out of the bowels of my knowledge to see if I can help. So, hey, Gabby, how are you?
I'm good, thanks, Rob. How are you?
I'm excellent. So why don't you tell our audience a little bit about your situation and your challenge and what it is that we're trying to solve?
Okay, so the situation is that our PPR that we're currently living in is it's a splitter block, so it's single title, 4 lots. And my question is, we're looking at demolishing the house because it's not salvageable and splitting the blocks of land and selling them all. And my question is around land tax. If the contracts were to exchange before the 31st of December, but not settle until, say, February, for example, is land tax payable? And I just don't understand how the land tax works in that situation. So I'm hoping you can help, please.
Okay, well, let's see what we can do. So there's a couple of little bits in what you've asked there that I'm just going to go through and explain for our audience, just so that they've got a little bit of context as to what we are talking about. So firstly, the concept of a splitter block, that's probably one that some people out there don't actually know. So that is when there are multiple titles multiple lots, I should say, on a single title. And it's basically a pre-approval to separate the titles at the titles office. No need for council approval to actually go through that process. And then you can, I guess, create new smaller lots because they've already been pre-approved. And it's just the paperwork shuffle to actually make that happen. So that is what is a splitter, just for our audience's benefit. Your question was land tax. Now, I know that you're in New South Wales. And so I guess state by state, there are variations in how land tax is actually calculated. So I'll give a very brief overview to everyone, and then I'll try and answer your specific situation. Mm-hmm. In pretty much all states, there are, I guess, a couple of common themes that apply through all of them, but there are nuances and subtleties to each one. So it's always best to check in each individual state. But there is a date, a single date, and at midnight of that date, that particular state will determine whether or not land tax applies or does not apply, and they look at who is the property owner at that exact moment in time. And if you are not the landowner at that moment in time, then land tax does not apply to you. And if you are the owner at that moment in time, then it doesn't. Now, the date changes from state to state. So in New South Wales, it's the 31st of December. In Victoria, it's also the 31st of December. And in Queensland, it happens to be the 30th or the 31st of June. Now, all of the other states have slightly different dates as well. I'm not going to rattle them all off, but you kind of get the idea that who owns it at midnight that night. Mm-hmm. So it's not a matter of whether or not the contract is in place. It's a matter of whether or not the contract has settled. Now, in the explanation that you went through just then, you would be under contract, but it would not have settled. So therefore, it is still in your name. So therefore, it determines whether or not you are exempt from land tax. And if you aren't exempt, who that would actually apply for. Mm-hmm. Now, in your particular scenario, you described the property as your principal place of residence. Mm-hmm. And because it's your principal place of residence, land tax is in most instances actually exempt. And so because of that, at midnight, for you specifically, it would be my assessment, my lay assessment, non-legal, that land tax wouldn't actually apply at that moment in time. Now, with regards to the separation of the titles, now that's a slightly different permutation of that. Mm-hmm. So because you've got 4 lots already there, if you separate the titles prior to the 31st of December, then now you have 1 that's a PPR and 3 that are not.
Okay.
Okay. And so 1 of those would be exempt and 3 of those would not. So it would be my guidance to separate the titles after the 31st of December. And then you've got an entire year until that date comes around again the second time round. And hopefully that 1 year is enough to get all of your contracts in place and settle, and none of that would actually apply.
Great.
How's that?
It was easy.
Well, and there's a couple of little nuances in there, but I guess in principle it is. Now, there are some subtleties with regards to every other state and the ownership of the property. Is it in a company? Is it a trust? Is it in your personal names? Is it an investment property? Is it a principal place of residence? So there's nuances with all of those. For you, it was very simple, PPR, and the titles had not yet separated. But if anyone out there in our audience happens to be owning property in a company, or happens to own it in a trust, or it happens to be an investment property, then the answer I gave Gabby is not for you. So please make sure you seek your own individual circumstances. There you have it, folks. That is Ask Rob Anything. And if you are an annual member, then you are encouraged to click on the links below and go and ask a question. And we will do what we can to help you and pay it forward and help our community at the same time. And if you're not yet an annual member, then there is another link further below that will show you how to become an annual member. And then you can join us at our regular meetups. Watch all of our previous recordings and a whole bunch more, access to discounts and the like. So come join us, folks, and share the love. Till next time, bye for now. Bye, Gabby.
See ya.